that term too, codependency. It's like, I didn't even know what it was until I got into a recovery group. And I remember like looking at the pamphlet and it explained what it was. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. Like, I can't function without other people. I need other people. It's just so crazy. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for people like us, people that, not necessarily codependent, people that seek approval from others, I think it's fine. I think it's fine to love people and always want to see the best. I think you shouldn't feel like you have to get rid of that side of yourself. I just think we need to be better at setting boundaries for ourselves.
Welcome everybody to the Not For Nothing podcast, hosted by the dynamic duo Christopher Michael and Ashley Maland, where they delve into life, love, relationships, and personal growth. Be sure to tune in every week for a refreshing take on life's most important lessons.
So now let's dig into these laws in California.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm just messing around when I say it like that. But I mean, it's wild to me.
It's wild
that they can't. It's so simple to me, right? Like when I see, and like I said, I'm an advocate for women, right, in general. But let's set that aside for a second. Let's talk about the children of our world. How can anyone ever know that children are being trafficked, women, children, anything, and not want to lock these people up for as long as they possibly can?
Right.
And the people that fight, what's her name? Senator Shannon Groves. The people that fight against the bill she's trying to pass.
Right.
I mean, seriously, like, how do you even sleep with yourself? How can you be a senator, congressman, woman, and fight against bills like that?
I mean, unless you're the one that's going to get in trouble.
Right.
Like that's
because
because why would you do that?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But I think I love Shannon Groves, by the way. I totally support her. She was a big part of one of we do a lot of revivals and I do a lot of ministry outreaches and things like that on the streets where thousands of people show up. And one time in particular, we went to Sacramento at the state capitol, and for whatever reason, God set it up on the day. We didn't know that this was going to happen, but he set it up on the day that Shannon Groves was right behind us with Senator Newsom at the time. And she was trying to get the bill passed, the SB 14, which actually makes it illegal to traffic minors.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're on the streets, we're praying, worshiping God. And as this is happening, Shannon Groves is behind us with the senator getting this bill passed. And we are like, dude, that's a miracle. Like we had no idea that day she was going to be behind us, like doing that. You know what I mean? And we had to get like permits and stuff like for the event to happen. And so that was a total God thing.
That's incredible.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. Because what are the odds?
Yeah. What are the odds of that? But I mean, she's just really pushing up against some of these really, I think, big people that have a lot
power. It's going to shake things up.
Yeah.
The Jeffrey Epsteins of the world.
Right.
I mean, that's who you're up against, right?
Just saying. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Honestly, actually, I can't get into great detail, but I actually know someone indirectly, my brother primarily, who was trafficked through Jeffrey Epstein.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. I guess you would say she's a survivor. So my brother happens to know her personally.
Oh my gosh.
She said it was pretty wild. She was 15 years old at the time.
Yeah. This is just horrendous.
Insane.
Well, you know what I do think though is like, I'm seeing this more and more because, I obviously believe in the Bible, but it says what's done in the dark will come to the light.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like so much is coming out right now.
Sure.
And I think that like the elites and the Hollywood elites and people thought that their stuff was never going to come to the light. And now we got Diddy out there. We got all this other stuff coming to the light that like we would never think that those people of power would actually, be exposed.
That's right.
And it's happening.
Yeah.
I literally, back in 2023, I don't remember when it was, I made a post because I just felt like God was telling me that like 2024 is going to be the year where all these things are going to come out.
Yep.
Like the people that have been skirting around in the darkness, they're going to be exposed. I knew it. I even made a post about it.
Wow.
And it's not let me down. Like I'm telling you, just every day there's something new coming out in the news.
Crazy.
And like, who saw the P. Diddy thing coming?
Nobody.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no one.
No one saw that. That was a whole, and it's still going on. It's still going on. Like, I'm sure we're going to find out more and more and who was all connected. I mean, it's just it's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It really is. Another thing is, where was that video? Like, seriously, the video, like, where was it? Like, are you going to tell me, like, you own and manage a prestige hotel like that, and what, you buried that video? Like, are you serious? Excuse my language, but it's outrageous to me. Like, like all these years, like seriously?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't understand it. It's like, why are so many people so eager to help these freaking people out?
Right.
Like, what's up with you?
It's fear, money, power, greed. A lot of people will do anything, even if they know it's wrong, if they can get paid for it, you know, because they're desperate. Yeah. But also domestic violence, which was that situation, well, way more with him, but that video, concerning that video, like no one was talking about it. It was, everything was so hush hush. Like it was just like, especially with celebrities, it was like, you don't talk about that stuff because who knows why, but I think a lot of it was because there's so many people guilty of it, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah. Agree.
It's like if one person speaks, then they're going to start opening doors that other people need to stay closed.
Yeah.
Yep. And just so you guys know, you got to remember, I danced in Hollywood.
Oh, that's
so you got to remember, I know some things. You know,
I'm
I
sure
know
you've
some
seen
things.
people there.
I've seen some things. I know some things. And so I've been to those like parties. Like I've seen it. I mean, obviously I was on the other end of it and, you know, as the dancer.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's it's, and I get it. But I think that more and more as survivors band together, the more we're going to feel more empowered. And I think that we're on the brink of something big with bringing awareness to human trafficking, because now it's in mainstream media and these people are coming together. And now I think the elites are freaking out right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're freaking out.
They should be.
They should be. Yeah, because you are not going to get away with this forever. Like it's not, you know. So anyway, so the point is that I think the people banding together, the survivors banding together and becoming almost like this one voice is what's really bringing traction.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
the exposure.
You have to, because listen, the quicker you come together and become that one voice, then you don't feel so vulnerable anymore.
Right.
If you're not the only one speaking out about it, now you start to build up the courage to keep doing it. And then more and more people come out. So it's great, because as more people came out, more followed, and now they're all going to pay the price.
Yeah.
Well,
and as they should.
And it's women like you that are like, you know what? I'm not going to hide what happened to me. I'm going to speak about it regardless of the backlash I may get, regardless of who believes me.
Yeah.
And it's people like you that start these types of movements that help push these things forward, you know?
Yeah. And that's the one thing I think about all the time, because people are like, you know, how do you do it or whatever? But you know what it is? It's thinking beyond myself. Yeah. Truly. Like, you know, there's times where I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I still deal with like shame or guilt, or like, you know, it's weird to sometimes think like this is my fault or whatever. But when I think about getting over myself and helping others, that's when I'm like, okay, you know what? I can do this. Like, and to be honest with you guys, some of the most powerful moments that I've had at these types of events and, you know, different things that I speak out at, where I speak out at, I'll have like even like 60-year-old women coming up to me, confessing something for the first time in their lives. And it's like, I think about that's why I do this. You know what I mean? Because that person has been holding that secret in for so long. And to think like that one moment, because I think about when I was able to confess everything I was going through. You know, there's a verse that says, confess your sins to one another so that you can be healed. It doesn't say so you can be forgiven. It says so you can be healed. Yeah. Because when you confess something, healing comes.
That's right.
Right. And so when I think about these women that are even men that have been holding secrets in, you know, they say you're as sick as your secrets and you can't confess it to somebody. To be that person that feels like a safe place that I can say, man, I trust something about this person, where I can go to them and say, you know what, this is what happened to me. Yeah. And I have had that time and time and time again, multiple women coming up to me confessing for the first time, saying, I've never told anybody this, but you gave me the courage to speak out.
That's right.
And that's why I do it.
Yeah. Vulnerability is powerful.
It really is.
It opens so many doors to, you know, healing for other people. And I think in our world especially, and I talk about this a lot on my platform, but the more authentic and honest and real we can be about our human experience, the easier it is for other people to do that. Yes. You know, sometimes they just need to see somebody that they look up to that's brave enough to do it. Yeah.
So good. Amen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It needs to come from a genuine place too. People sense bullshit, right? So there are people that try to talk about things that just really may not be in a position where they should be talking about it. And people see that. And those are the people that they're not receptive to.
Yeah.
So when you get someone like you who is so heartfelt and genuine, people see that in you.
Right.
So they're going to be more vulnerable to you. They're going to open up. And it's a great quality to have. And it's not a quality that a lot of people possess to that degree.
Thank you. Yeah. And I really do owe that to God. I don't know. I spend so much time with them, you know what I mean? And I genuinely like it. I love to go into my prayer time and spend a lot of just alone time.
Right.
Feels really good. Feels healing. You know, it's just, it's a safe place.
It's peaceful.
Peaceful. Yeah.
Yeah. Secrets will kill you though.
Yeah.
They really will. They eat you up from the inside out.
Right.
You know, we spoke. I'm a recovering addict. I mean, just the years of lying got me so beat down at one point that I just had to come clean and go into recovery because I couldn't forget the using. It got to a point where it was so bad, the lying, that I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Staring at someone, talking to my mother, talking to my father, the constant, it was just, it's like demoralizing to a degree until you finally let it out. And then you're like, the sigh of relief to be able to get that type of stuff off of your chest. Oh, I mean, you can't even put a price. I mean, it's insane.
It's so true.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for the fact that you can say that. You know, that's very respectful to be able to admit that.
Yeah, it is.
It takes a lot of courage. I think women, like, it's easy for women to open up, but for men, it's a little bit harder. So
It is.
for some reason.
Yeah, there's so much shame.
Why do you think that is? I'm just curious. Why is it harder for men to?
Well, I mean, of course, there's always I think there's a degree of shame in anything like that with anybody. I think men, I've said this before, it's just innate in us. Like we just don't open up the way women do. We're not as vulnerable as women are, you know, and it's been ingrained in us since the beginning of time. You know, we were providers, fighters, right? Like that's how it's always been, right?
Right.
Back in the 1600s, the wars were fought by men. We're just closed off. We keep it all in. And I think to a degree we do it to protect the people around us. And while I know it's healthy to be open, especially with people that you love, I've said it in podcast episodes before, I don't want people to feel the pain that I live with sometimes.
Wow.
Because I don't need them to. Like, I get it. You want to understand. But if there's nothing you can do, why burden you with it? Why do I have to put you into the same kind of turmoil that I'm going through? Because you love me and you care about me. And while I love and appreciate that, I don't want to see you hurt. I don't want to see you sad for me.
Got it.
You know, so that's a big part of it, especially with people that we love.
Right. Which is why recovery is so great, because you can actually go to the groups and it's, you know, it's confidential and it's not necessarily your family. So it's really cool. Like, I know now I cannot open up to about some of the things with my friends that I can with my recovery sisters, because you know what I mean? Like, there's just some things that need to stay in those recovery groups, and I don't burden my friends with it. And there's other things my friends know about me that the recovery people don't. And it's just nice. It's nice to have both, you know?
Well, you want someone to relate. It's nice when you can relate, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially when you're talking to someone that can relate, because otherwise sometimes you feel like it's falling on deaf ears, right? Well, you do, because while they're your friends and they feel sympathetic to you, that's great. But we don't just want sympathy, right? Like, we want to be able to work our problems out. It's very hard to do that with somebody who can't relate to you.
That's good.
Exactly.
You know, it's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah, love recovery. 12 steps, celebrate recovery, AA, all of them. Just get in. I always say, get into a meeting. Yeah, get into the meetings.
So did you have an alcohol or drug problem?
Actually, no. I had more of a codependency problem. That's, which codependency is a drug too.
Oh,
that should be a whole topic there.
I was going to say.
Yeah, codependency is a drug.
Whew,
yeah.
It sure is.
Speak on it, yeah.
I know that from a lot of experience. That hit me really hard this year. It's one of the things that I have been actively healing in myself this entire year. Realizing the way that I was so destroyed in relationships and heartbreaks, and realizing that it was because I had spent so much of my life relying on other people to be my safe place, to be my, everything. Yeah. And I would do anything and everything for people that had never even earned it, just because I needed them to love me,
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need them to. I thought I did.
Right.
But.
Yeah. that term too, codependency. It's like, I didn't even know what it was until I got into a recovery group. And I remember like looking at the pamphlet and it explained what it was. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. Like I can't function without other people. I need other people. It's just so crazy.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for people like us, people that, not necessarily codependent, people that seek approval from others. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to love people and always want to see the best. I think you shouldn't feel like you have to get rid of that side of yourself. I just think we need to be better at setting boundaries for ourselves so that we don't have to change that part of us.
That's right.
And this way, when people cross them, then we know, okay, like that's a no-go zone. Like we have to stay away from that person.
Right.
You know, and I think that's kind of where we fall short when we get involved with other people.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
And it's about too, like learning to sit back and let love develop instead of rushing into the fantasy of it, which is what so many of us do, even with your situation.
Right.
It's like when someone love bombs you, it feels amazing. It feels amazing, but there's a superficiality to that because you can't really feel that way about someone that you do not know.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was a big lesson for me too, is realizing that love actually does take time.
Yes.
Like you can love things about a person, you can love things that you see in them, but you can't really love someone until you know them in and out.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like romanticizing everything. And we can do that with other situations too. It can ever like live in this romantic fantasy land and it's so unrealistic, you know? Yeah. It's good to stay factual, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
At the end, we're human beings. We all thrive for companionship.
Right.
I mean, we do. Why not? I mean, but at the end of the day, some of us are in, to a degree, we're in la-la land sometimes, because we do. Because we put what we want and we see certain qualities in that person, right? And then we just attach everything to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's all that I need. And we don't give ourselves time to get to know them truly.
Yeah.
Right. And then you find yourself 6 months down the road and you're like, fuck, again? Like,
Here we are.
I can't believe it.
How weird. Same
crazy.
Outcome.
But there's another thing. And somebody brought up a really good point. They say it's like in today's world, a lot of people are willing to sacrifice the 80% for the 20% that they don't see in somebody.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's wildly true. It really is, because they fulfill a very temporary need that you have.
Gosh.
So you abandon the person that's doing the most and is the most for you to fulfill such a temporary need for yourself.
That's good.
And then you try to go back and it's gone.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's true. It's like the men that leave their wives like during a midlife crisis or something. And then they go with this like hot young chick.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh gosh, give me my wife back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
it's like, oh, your wife's gone now, buddy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
Like the movie It's Complicated. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
Alec Baldwin.
seen it.
Oh my God, it's one of my favorites. It's actually a comedy, but that's what happens. He meets this real young, beautiful girl and thinks she's just going to be the love of his life. And he leaves his wife, who is, what's her name? She's so famous. But anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just a nightmare.
Is it Diane Keaton?
It's a nightmare. No, but I know what you're talking about. It's, Meryl Streep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's the
The
cutest
goat.
movie.
She is
the goat.
She is the goat.
Meryl.
Love you. Devil Wears Prada, y'all. That was just epic.
Even I like that
That's
movie.
all.
Right?
Carry
Yeah, it's
on.
great.
Oh gosh. I wish I could dismiss somebody like that. Like just once in my life. Like, can I just be mean one time?
I know, right? Same.
That's all.
I agree.
Like I would love to be that mean.
I think I would laugh
just
attempting
once.
it.
Yeah.
I've wanted to attempt it before. I think I would break down laughing. I just don't think I
Right.
could be that dismissive of somebody.
Yeah. Anyways, but she is the goat. For
She
sure.
really is. I love her. But that movie's great. It's hilarious. That's exactly what happens.
You mean the 80%? Yeah. Man, that's crazy, guys.
That's the time we live in. It's all. Everybody thinks the grass is greener. Everybody thinks it's better. Everybody wants instant gratification. Nobody wants to pay attention to the struggles that people have to go through.
Right.
Yeah.
So they just think that they what they see on social media is like it's that easy. Like
Right.
no. Like you don't see what they go through day to day.
No.
Yeah.
You only see their success.
Right.
You see their success because that's what they show you.
Yeah.
Right.
But what do you think? That was just handed to them? Like no. you're seeing them now in their successful stage.
Right.
You have no idea what these people went through to get to where they are.
Oh
Right.
And
That's
believe
so
me,
good.
it's not easy.
Right.
No one that successful doesn't struggle and doesn't struggle hard.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, with social media, just seeing people who they actually are when you meet them in person, like with us,
yeah.
you know, like we meet people all the time, and you can put on an entire show on your social media, and people can just think you're one thing, and then you meet that person, and you're like,
Yeah.
that was not what I was expecting.
got
I
wrong.
agree. Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
No, I won't do it.
Or
I won't
two.
do
Yeah.
it.
But we've
Yeah.
also
I won't
got
do
people
it.
that we've met that were pleasantly amazing. Like where we were like, I mean, didn't think anything bad of them, but in person, you're like, wow, even better, you know?
Yeah, that's so good. No, I know. I remember this one time. I this girl, like she was a friend of mine, as kind of like an associate, but she was physically like stunning, like just so stunning, right? But then when you talk to her, it was like, what just happened? I literally am like, it was bad. It's just really bad. You know what I mean? But the facade, you know what I mean? It's the facade. And so I think that, staying in reality is a good thing. And when you can fall in love with your reality, that is such a great place to be. Yeah. And I genuinely feel like that. Like I genuinely feel like, that I'm in a realistic place. Don't get me wrong. I still have my hopes and my dreams and all of that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm genuinely happy with my life. And if I can be genuinely happy most of the time, like they say in recovery, supremely happy with you forever in the next, then it's, hey, I have nothing to complain about, you know?
Amen.
So,
Amen.
yeah.
Absolutely. If more people thought that way,
Yeah.
the world would be a better place.
Gotta put in the work though. Gotta put in that work. Gotta
sure
face
do.
that childhood trauma.
You sure do.
Yeah.
Anything worth doing takes work. I think I know people miss that. They just for some reason miss that today.
Yeah,
It's the weirdest thing. It's like either like you think they have like, and the crazy part about it, these kids are like our parents, like our generation's kids, right? So it's like, I didn't grow up that way. I know you guys didn't grow up that way. So it's like, where the fuck did they get it from? Like, is really social media influencing kids that much that even our generation doesn't have an impact on their own children?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's
unbelievable
a good
to
question.
me.
Yeah.
Then take their phones away. I mean, I don't know what to do. I mean, I feel almost doomed by the up and coming generation.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Something beautiful comes from everything.
I hope so.
You know?
I truly do. I really do hope so, because I love to see the best in people, but
I get it. I get it.
It's wild sometimes.
It is. But there's something in that generation that our world needs, whether we believe it or not. Or something in that generation that will push us back to what we need.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
So
I know, but it's a whole nother, I mean, some people call it an epidemic, but there are a whole nother set of problems to tackle through that. So, it's some people are more depressed now because, they feel like they're missing out on things, or there's some people that have the wanting to have that life that someone else is portraying,
Right.
But you're right though. I think there's also some people who genuinely do put good out there. And, even some of the funny videos too. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I just want to laugh.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there's some humor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like too many times on social media now, everybody polarizes things. It's like the smallest of things, right? Like even the tension between men and women today. Like it's always dramatic one way or the other. It's like, dude, we all need each other.
Yeah.
Men need women, women need men. Like it's really
Seriously.
not that complicated. To make things so polarized between us, like I said, we've talked about for like these red pill podcasts. It's like, what are you doing?
yeah.
Like,
Right.
why?
Yeah.
Why the friction? Like I don't understand it.
I believe. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as a guy, you can't possibly think that you can live without women, right?
Right.
As much as these guys like to toot their own horns and say that they can't possibly.
Right.
And women can't live without men. And that's been clear forever. So why is there any confrontation between us? It's just fucking wild to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And I think we have an obligation. Like if you have a platform, you should be doing good.
Yeah.
And I don't
for
think
sure.
there's even an excuse for it. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If you're only going to put bad out into the world, then why just keep your mouth shut? I mean, you're not helping anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get it. Like freedom of speech, believe me, I'm a big advocate for it. But at the end of the day, there is toxic rhetoric.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that constantly throw it up on social media, and it influences our children. It really does. I mean, So it's at what point do you just say enough is enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And to your point before, I think for me, and this is just my own, my own opinion, but I like being feminine, and I like to be a woman, and I like to get dressed up and be cute, and I actually like to cook. And I don't think there's any, like, people will say it's like old school or something like that, but I like to have a meal ready when, my man comes home, and it's just, you know what I mean? I like that. I really do. And I think it's just gotten so far now that if you're more traditional, that it's like this crazy conservative thing. And it's like, what? Like, why does it have to be like that? Like, I genuinely just want to feel my home to feel like a home, you know?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. I don't get why all these labels are out here. It's really strange.
I think it's fear. I think that just based on, the historical things that have happened with women, I think women are fearful that if they don't push themselves into the masculine, they'll revert back to where it used to be. And I think there's a healthy balance that we could find by accepting that traditional roles are okay too. And feminine and masculinity, it is inherent in us. We can't change it.
Right.
I don't know. That's
another. I'm just saying. Yeah.
The biggest problem. I mean, listen. The biggest problem with women pushing themselves into a more masculine state is that they, as you can see, start to push men into like a more almost feminine type of state where they're just not as masculine as they should be.
Right.
And it's almost because they're just kind of conceding it at this point. And I'm not putting the blame on women for it. I'm just saying, like, there's like you said, there's nothing wrong with traditional roles. No one's saying you have to be that way.
Right.
It's okay to be that way. That's fine. Who cares?
Right.
We've had traditional values forever. I mean, what's the big deal? If somebody wants to be a stay-at-home or homemaker or wife, whatever they used to call them, and the man's the provider, who cares?
Right.
What's
it's what works
deal?
For your family. Right. Because like in the same essence that I do like to be more traditional, I also am a business owner. So it's like I still have that side in me, but I think it's just what works for you and your, case by case thing. But I just don't think that we should label if someone is more traditional that like it's this crazy conservative view of things. It's like, what the heck? Yeah. Anyways.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm going to backtrack for a minute and we'll add this in. So I wanted to ask you, so we talked about what women could potentially look out for to keep themselves outside of that situation. So as a man, I'd be curious to know, as men, what can we try to hone in on to see potentially if there's women in trouble in that state?
So that's really good because a lot of times, like if they say if you see something, say something, right? So if you see like a woman that like just looks like she's broken or being controlled, like you can obviously sense it. But at this point, because there's been so much awareness being raised at this point, they'll say like call the police. Like even in the airport, for example, like on my way out here, I heard, if human trafficking, and it's like on like literally the airwaves, right? Like through in the airport, and there's even posters up in the bathrooms and stuff. So if it looks odd, it most likely is, right? Yeah. So it's better to be safe and call the authorities and to have that situation checked on than just to like not doing anything at all. You know what I mean? You don't have to be, the one going in and saving and doing all the stuff, but at least, make the phone call and just be like, hey, this situation looks a little bit weird. This guy's here. This woman looks like she doesn't, a lot of times they won't make eye contact. They'll have to like sit in certain ways or like, there was even a time, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a video that went viral where this truck actually got pulled over, or like it not pulled over, it was like stuck on the side of the road, and all these children came out of it, and it was a truck driver that called. But imagine if he didn't. Imagine if he was just like, oh, that's just like, a normal thing. But that that video went viral because he actually called the police, and then it was actually human trafficking. So that's, again, if you see something, say something, just make the call.
Amazing. It's good to know, honestly, because as men, if we're not paying attention for certain things, then we're never going to know. We'll never be able to help anybody if we see someone in the situation.
Right.
So I think it's good that we know from both ends.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap today. Ashley, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Yes, it was.
Thanks for flying in from California. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
It was our pleasure.
Lots of good. I think this is actually the deepest that I've gotten on a pod.
Wow.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Lots
that.
of like really detailed, situations that I opened up about. So
I'm glad you felt comfortable enough to open up with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So definitely check out Ashley Nadine at Miss Ashley Nadine. That's her IG at Miss Ashley Nadine. And definitely please support and try to help push through SB 14. We need to up the sex trafficking of a child and woman to a felony immediately. It is now only a misdemeanor in California, which is horrendous. I don't need to tell you. So let's all get behind Senator Shannon Groves and support the bill SB 14. That's it for today, guys. Continue to check us out on IG at Not For Nothing Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Not For Nothing Podcast, one word. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.